What's up, everybody? It's Tim Dog, and we're on Old 395. You like gold? You like gold mining? Well, guess what? You're going to love this place. This is an old gold mining museum. Let's go inside and check it out. $5 entrance free. Goes to a good cause. Kids are free, though. That's cool. Oh, baby. Come on, look at all this stuff. Wow, that's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. There he is, the legend.
Hey,
Dan, how you doing, buddy?
Good seeing you, man.
Right on. All right, here we are with Dan. He writes a lot of articles for the Gold Prospector magazine. If you don't know, you should.
And the Mining Journal, too.
Mining Journal, yeah.
Yeah, so, this
Cool.
is an old speakeasy here. We had 3 mining booms in the area. Gold up the road in Randsburg and Johannesburg, silver here in Red Mountain, and tungsten gold in Notorious. This is an old speakeasy called the Owl Cafe. It used to be it was disguised as a restaurant, but it was really a gambling, booze-making joint. And then next door, Slim Riffle, the big guy, made this place, made the Owl Hotel, quote-unquote, next door. That's a big broth area. Later on, when Prohibition was repealed, Slim Riffle made a legitimate saloon over here.
Who's that? This guy right here?
No. Well, back in the 20s, there wasn't any Vegas or Palm Springs yet, so a lot of the Hollywood elites used to come, and Fatty Arbuckle, a lot of actors used to sneak drinks in here.
Nice.
And then when Prohibition,
When
it was
Can you
repealed,
imagine?
Slim Riffle made a legitimate saloon. My wife and I, we don't drink or smoke anymore. We go to church now, but our only addiction is like to find gold.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, there you go. And we actually we were taking youngsters from the church, keeping them up, keeping out trouble camping, and then we had so much fun doing it. I sold my shop. Actually gave my shop to my installer, and we moved in here in this historical building. And a lot of actors used to come in their 20s, and famous miners like Seldom Seen Slim, Shorty Harris. I used to hang out with Slim Riffle. Slim Riffle was 6'5". He was a gangster guy that made this place, and everybody in Hollywood knew him because you can come up here. There was no cops in the 20s and all that. Not to glorify that stuff, but that was just part of life.
Everybody loves no cops.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I have. There's some good cops.
We love cops.
Well,
Amen.
You have good ones and bad ones. But anyhow, when Prohibition was repealed, Slim made a legitimate saloon in his original bar. And like I said, we don't drink anymore, but it's part of our mining history. And there's another museum up
Can't
the road.
go mining without drinking.
There's another museum up the road in Randsburg. They've been there since the 40s. And
What's that one called?
The Rand Desert Museum, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
And so I recommend going in there. This is called the Historic Rand Mining District. A lot of tourists come through here. Years ago, when I had my spy and security shop in LA, I was doing pretty good there. But then I got gold fever. And like I said, when we started going to these areas camping and keeping these kids out of trouble and getting gold, and we had so much fun doing it, that we just ended up taking over this whole building, and that's how we ended up here. And we take people out on mining tours. We do gold prospecting charters. We charge a fee because we got to lock up. I used to take people out for free, but we got to pay bills and everything. But
They gotta make a living.
Yeah, it's an interesting area. We belong to several prospecting clubs, and around here there's mining claims in the area. And once you join them, you can keep whatever gold you find, And we actually get pretty good gold. Like on some of the club claims, this is some of their gold, the gold that we gotten on some of their claims, and you can keep whatever gold you find when you join them. I've gotten several nuggets too with metal detectors and all that. Here's some of the tungsten right there too.
Tungsten.
Yep.
Very
Here's
cool.
a replica of the Mojave nugget that was found locally with a metal detector in 1977. The original's at the LA County Natural History Museum with some other beautiful gold rush nuggets.
156 troy ounces. I would retire.
Yeah, well, here's some vintage dry washers. The old timers made them by hand, but we sell the modern versions that take like a leaf blower. When we take customers out, we use those. But I sometimes
You sell that here?
Yeah, the new ones.
Oh,
but
okay,
sometimes
great.
just for fun, I'll take the old ones out and just use them just to mess around. But they would crank a wheel, or they would have like a wooden stick with a rope with a lever, and it would pull the bellows bag up and down, or they crank the wheel, and it causes the bellows to puff up and down. What happens is they would dump the dry pay dirt in here. It has to be dry. You don't want the material to be wet. And it's called a grizzly or hopper. And there's a screen in here that classifies the larger rocks out. The smaller classified material comes through the chute right here, and it drops onto this breathable cloth. and as you're cranking the bellows, it's puffing up and down. All the lighter stuff comes
This
out.
thing puffs up like
Yeah.
one of them
Yeah.
things that you stoke a fire with. You ever stoke a fire, kid? I didn't think so. You got heating in your house.
Yeah, and all the lighter stuff comes out, but the heavy gold gets trapped behind the riffles. And at the end of the day, they take the riffle tray out, dump the pay dirt into the gold pan, and bring a little water with them to their camp area and pan it out. You know. And you do not.
They weren't camping; they were gold fevering.
Oh yeah. Like I said, this dirt has to be dry. You can't. We sell equipment for the water, like sluice box and all, but this has to be dry. So. And again, there's a lot of stuff in here. We call it historical treasures, you know. So
Sweet. All right, Dan. What's the biggest piece of gold you've ever
I
found?
found a pretty good size, like the size of my thumb with the metal, right up here in the El Paso. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And I got lots of little
Metal detecting or?
metal detecting, but sometimes when I dry wash and I pan it out, I find little nuggets in there too as well.
Oh, okay.
You always want to detect your tailings, even the smaller stuff, but mainly the larger stuff that falls out.
Yep.
Because a big nugget could just fall out. However,
Right out the back end of that grizzly. It just
Yeah.
falls on the ground and the little stuff goes in there, but your nuggets go out the back side. You gotta go get your metal detector, monster gold metal detectors, whatever you can find.
Yeah, and like I even detect the stuff that already came out, because sometimes you get these flat pieces that act like kites and the air just kind of hydroplane out. I've actually found 3 or 4 like that in the other tailing.
Oh, I
bet.
bet.
In fact, Jim Strait wrote a book. He's dead now, but he wrote a book called Follow the Dry Washers, and he actually talks about finding gold in other people's piles. You know.
Yep.
So, and back
Because
there-
we all know go where gold has been found before. Right? That's right.
So
Gold is
anyhow,
where we find it. I hate that.
Yeah. So anyhow, you're.
Oh, here's another one.
Yeah, this is more
Another-
like 70s. These are more
Yeah.
like mid-century.
Okay.
And this one here is like probably like the late 1800s, early 1900s. They were a lot bigger when they first started coming out. And then on this section over here, we have relics from the California Gold Rush. That's like my hobby. And I read all these books and old timers that lived through the Gold Rush. I have here's some old bottles that the 49ers threw out when they got to San Francisco. I got old pans that the 49ers, left somewhere, and I got most of the miners. Their scales were imported from Germany, and I got the Chinese scales. They weighed their gold, and sadly they're opium. A lot of them are addicts. Not all of them, but some.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then here's a vintage crevicing tool customer brought in. He found up north.
That was back when heroin wasn't illegal. It wasn't even known as to be bad for you yet. Don't do drugs.
Yeah, in fact, speaking of that, on the other side, I forgot to show you, but over in Atolia, my wife found a old opium bottle back in the early 80s. It was actually a medicine bottle. And they didn't realize the addictive properties back then, so that was when it was just sold commercially.
Yeah,
But
same
it
with
from
cocaine. It was good times.
From the late 1800s.
Sure.
And I have
Don't do drugs.
I have relics from like different things, like gold, like some of the gold we get from up north, and
Wow, look at that old gun.
yeah, that one's really old.
That is cool. Did you find any of these old relics?
Around here we do, because you got to remember a lot of the miners camped near where they were digging, and they didn't have modern trash services back then, so we just toss their can. It's kind of cool. Just finding cans are cool. Some of the older ones with a little lead button on the top, solder button there.
Sure.
We have the old sardine, with a key that you twist to open the lid, and then tobacco tins, and it's kind of fun. I had a customer come in who actually found an old tobacco tin. He was rattling it, and they had a hard time getting it open, but there's nuggets in there.
I have heard of these things happening.
Yeah,
That's why you dig every target.
Yeah, some old timers would keep their poke, inside their tins.
Sure.
And,
I got a buddy who just found an old rifle, and he believes that it's from Snowshoe Thompson up there by Tahoe.
oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow, that's got some history.
Yeah, and he found an 1880s silver coin right near it too. Pretty cool.
Wow.
Metal detecting's fun. Not always gonna find gold, but you never know.
That's why I like to dry wash and sluice, because you always get something doing that.
Sure.
Whereas nugget shoot them, when I'm out detecting, most of the time I don't find anything, but I do come across them. But when I'm dry washing, when I get sad because I don't find anything metal detecting, I'll dry wash it, and when I'm doing that at the end of the day, I'll check my pile. You may find a nugget in that, or somebody else's pile.
Sure.
So I kind of like to mix it up, because if I get bored doing one thing or get boondocks, I don't find gold metal detecting, I'll do other things.
Yeah.
Right in there is where the old kitchen, and to the right is where the old coffee shop used to be. We sell prospecting stuff in there.
Oh, sure. Look at this old thing right here.
Hey, after the California Gold Rush, they had an Oregon Gold Rush, and that's an original Oregon Gold Rush pack saddle.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. In Oregon, they had a lot of gold going on up there, and then World War One or was it two? Well, one of the wars started, and all the guys basically had to stop production because they had to go to war.
World War II,
and there's
yeah,
still a lot of gold in Oregon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of sissies in Oregon too. No offense.
Don't even get me started.
A lot of rules, regulations. That's why I like Nevada. Yep. But so Dan here writes for.
So I write articles for the Mining Journal. I've written for also the GPA magazine, and Mining Journal's been around since the Great Depression, and they're celebrating their 93rd year. I recommend them. The GPA magazine, when you join them, you get that free every month or something, and I recommend them too, and it's smaller clubs too.
Sure.
I try not to get on anybody's, hey, this is better than that, or I'm a dealer for a couple of different companies, and I either one, I don't like to bash any company or any magazine. They're all, in fact, there used to be a lot of,
Knowledge is power.
there was a lot of prospecting magazines used to be around, but sadly they just all fizzled out. There's only two that I know of. The main ones are either the Mining Journal or the GPA magazine. Mining Journal's one of the oldest ones. In fact, here's an original one right there from 1938.
1938.
Yeah, and you get a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of contributors that are very well educated. Chris Ralph was the main associate editor for them for many years, but he's kind of backed off because he's just...
The boy's a genius.
Yeah, he's kind of retiring. But he says he'll periodically still write for them because he wants to go out and get gold and
Sure.
black. I write articles and I know how he feels because it takes a lot of time to just put in, you got to make sure everything's just right. It could take days to make sure you do a good article.
I can't even spell. That's why I'm on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not even the most articulated individual, but I use Grammarly and all that to...
Sure.
Anyhow, well, if you want,
Yeah,
check out,
let's mosey.
And here is where the old kitchen used to be. My wife's relative closed down her vintage antique thrift shop stuff, so she started bringing some. We have a lot of vintage things in here, and but it was kind of a little unorganized. Over here is where the old coffee shop used to be. A lot of famous people used to come in here and dine.
Oh yeah.
And we sell, Chris Ralph's book here, the Mining Journal, and we have some. Hold on, dig him this.
Yep. Sneeze alert.
Ooh, sorry about
Bless
that.
you.
Yeah, I got.
He's allergic to California.
No, I dry wash so much. I sometimes have a little. I have the GPA.
Great book right here, everybody. I've read that one. That's got a vast.
Yeah,
This is one of my
I'm
favorites.
actually in process of writing my own book, but it's going to be on a flash
cool.
drive because I have so much content that I want to put on that it's just going to be packed with so much stuff. And I want to have color pictures, videos, do a little bit more than a book. But Chris Ralph's book's great because he's took a lot of time, and he's a geologist, to put in. He put just about everything you can imagine in here. And not only what to look for, but because he's a geologist, but panning, sluicing, dry washing, metal. He talks about California, Nevada, all that. I sell other separate books here, older ones and stuff, but it's kind of like you have just about everything in this book where you don't have to buy a bunch of separate ones. So it's a pretty good book.
It's a very easy read.
Yeah.
Even I could read it. So let's talk a little bit about your tours that you do and how they can find you, how they can make a reservation, all that.
Yeah, you can go to our website, which is redmtnkellysilver.com. MTN is abbreviated for mountain, so just figure redmtnkellysilver.com, but not spelling out mountain, just MTN. And what we do is we either do the tours and we take people out to get gold. I'm sorry, that's separate. That's a gold prospecting chart. But when we do the tours, we take people out to different historical points of interest. We don't go in any shafts for liability, and I don't want to get in problems with the owner. Some of the people give me
because he's in California.
Yeah, we don't need that. But we stop at different points. I get off and explain what happened here and how the gold was discovered over there and what brought people to the area. And then we do gold prospecting charters where we use a thing called a dry washer. And this is the modern version of what we were seeing over here a minute ago. The old timers, like I said, they made these by hand out of wood, and there's bellows. But the newer ones are more efficient. They go through quicker. And we're a dealer for, like I said, Royal and also Keene. There's a Keene sluice box there, and we take people out to get gold as well. Some people want to do both in one day, the charter and the tour. So we have to get up early and kind of do that.
Sure.
We charge $79 for the first person and then $20 for every person after that.
That's cheap, man. Come out here and go gold mining. Gee whiz, what a great thing to do with the family. My God.
Because I like doing it. But,
Yeah, well, free doesn't
we moved
get-
up here
yeah.
and we got bills and stuff.
Well, his time is valuable. That knowledge is worth a lot of money. All right, we'll wrap it up here. Thanks again for watching. We're down here at Red Mountain where the hills do have eyes. I can promise you that. I look around. Oh, shit.